Hello, my treasured and most esteemed viewers. Welcome once more to Human Rights Heralds, a quarter hour with the Human Rights Wizard, Ogochukwu Onoha. Remember our motto: know your rights, protect your rights, defend your rights. We are here because you are human, and the fact that you are human means that you matter, and that other human beings have the duty to treat you like one of them, to accord you all the respect, all the honor that you deserve as a human person. In our last video, we discussed the right to life. Remember, the goal of the Human Rights Heralds channel is to simplify the law, especially as they affect the fundamental human rights of people, to take away the legal jargons, the legal technicalities that make it difficult for the ordinary person to understand and appreciate the law and be able to observe the law and accord respect to fellow human beings while expecting the same from them. Today, on a quarter hour with the Human Rights Wizard, Ogochukwu Onoha. Our goal is to unravel and to analyze the right to dignity of the human person. The right to dignity of the human person is contained in Section 34 of the Constitution of the Federation of Nigeria, 1999, as amended. First and foremost, let us talk about what human dignity implies, what human dignity should mean to the ordinary person. It means that the human being is dignified, that a human being is honored and deserves to be honored, that a human being is to be respected by everyone else. Therefore, the right to dignity of the human person implies that the human being should be treated like a human being and not like an animal, because the human being is not an animal. And so any treatment meted out to the human being that places him or her at the level of the animal is an infringement on his or her human rights. The right to dignity of the human person, Section 34, expressly condemns torture in all its manifestations. Being a Nigerian, I am sure that we have all witnessed the scenario where a police officer is brutalizing a civilian whom he is authorized to arrest. Remember, the police officer is authorized only to arrest the civilian who has been spotted committing an offense, or whom the police officer believes is about to commit an offense, or whom he suspects might harbor the intention to commit an offense. The law does not permit the police to brutalize, that is, to beat or assault the suspect. But we have witnessed scenes where police officers and army officers and other law enforcement agents do this on the streets of Nigeria. And I am sure that, being human, none of us feels comfortable in the face of such an abuse. It is known in Nigeria that suspects or accused persons are routinely tortured in police stations and are forced to make confessions for offenses they did not commit. In law, we say that such a confession was obtained by duress, that is, by force. There was a case that I am sure I was not the only person who heard, because it was broadcast on the radio, a woman forced her house help, a little girl of about 10, to stand up all night and be fanning her and her own children while they were in bed because there was power failure and the electric fan, couldn't be used. And when the little girl got too drowsy to continue the job, she dropped on the floor and fell asleep. So, when her mistress woke up and discovered that she was no longer doing her job, fanning them, she bound both her arms with a naked electric wire and stretched it to the window frame and tied the girl up there and then went back to bed. So by the time neighbors discovered this the next morning and reported to the police, the girl's entire arm, down to her shoulders, had swollen up. The naked wire eating deep into her skin. If you are happy hearing this, then you are not human and this channel is not for you, because this channel is created for those of us who still have some iota, who still have some veneer of humanity in them. This is what we mean by treating a human in a way that is undignified of him as a human being. There was a second video, a WhatsApp video that was said to have been shot at Aguleri in Anambra State, of a widow who was paraded naked in the street because the community claimed that she was an adulteress and that it was her routine adultery that killed her husband. As far as the law is concerned, there was no proof for it. It was just a mere suspicion. And the community had no right to subject the woman to such a treatment. It was an outright denial of her right to dignity of the human person. Of course, there are other cases that are very common. We talk about the Omuada syndrome in Igbo land in particular, where if a husband dies, his widowed wife is forced to scrape her hair against her will because it is said that custom demands it. But our constitution says that any custom that contradicts the constitution is null and void to the extent of the contradiction. And that particular custom contradicts, is a violation of Section 34, the right to dignity of the human person of the Constitution. If a woman decides to scrape her hair in honor of her late husband, it is okay because it's a personal decision, but not because it is imposed on her by the custom. Then, even more obnoxious is the practice in some communities whereby a widow has to be forced to drink water with which the dead body of her husband has been washed, so as to prove that she did not kill her husband. This is not only against the right to the dignity of human person, but is also repugnant to natural justice and equity. It is a dirty, unhygienic practice to force a living person to drink water which has been used to wash a dead body, just so that she can prove that she had no hand in the death of her husband. Yes, there are so many more such cases of treatments that are not worthy of human dignity. Now let us talk about cases, apart from the cases of brutality that I talked about earlier on. There are so many other instances of such abuse that goes on in our communities. For instance, in some communities, a person is tied up and flogged by the community for violating one rule or the other. And the law says that this is unacceptable. It is a violation of the person's rights to the dignity of the human person. So such practices all amount to torture, even the ones that do not inflict physical injury on the person. They all torture the person mentally. They produce trauma which the victim continues to suffer for many years. If you have enjoyed or if you are enjoying what we are doing here, then the way to show this is to like this video and subscribe to this channel so that we can give you more of this kind of videos. Now, the next question we're going to consider is this: what are the legal redresses available to a person whose right to dignity of the human person has been violated? First of all, we need to learn to speak out, to report the offenders to the law. There are so many agencies in Nigeria that can help. Now, Human Rights Herald, this channel, is not an enforcement agent, and yet this channel can help. If you drop your complaint on the comment section or send a WhatsApp post on the problem you are facing, so 091 333 01790. There are a number of human rights enforcement agents, human rights organizations that can help you enforce your rights. These organizations are affiliated to this channel. There is the Legal Aid Council of Nigeria. You can look up the address of that council in Google. It is located, it has branches all over Nigeria. And then there is the National Human Rights Commission. These ones are sponsored or financed by the federal government of Nigeria. But there are also privately owned human rights organizations that are even more effective in the enforcement of human rights abuses. What should you do? Contact us in this channel. Drop your message on WhatsApp, like I already noted, or drop it on the comment section. Tell us what the problem is. Then I will link you up to an organization that can help you. Many of these organizations, especially the privately owned ones and also the ones owned by the federal government, provide pro bono services. When I say pro bono services, we mean they provide free legal service to clients that are known to be indigent, Nigerians who do not have enough money to hire their own legal representative if a matter has to appear in the law court. There are arrangements to provide pro bono services to them. But this can only happen if you speak out about the human rights abuse you've suffered. If you keep quiet, nobody will know that you are facing such a problem. That's why speaking out is so important. Remember, know your rights, protect your rights, defend your rights. That is what we stand for here. I hope to hear from you. Between now and the next video, speak out so that we know what you think we can do to make this video better. In the time being, I want to remind you that this is Human Rights Herald, a quarter hour with the Human Rights Wizard. And I am still your humble anchor, Ogochukwu Onoha. Remain blessed and please stay away from trouble. Respect other people's rights so that you have the moral justification to ask others or expect others to equally respect your own rights.